Okay, so hi everyone. Yeah, I guess we can start now. So I'm Charles from TraceX, and so I don't know if you know TraceX. So in one word, it's a free platform built to manage the entire medical device life cycle. So with a full regulatory compliance. So that's what we do on daily basis. And today we are happy to welcome Guillaume from CSDmed. So Guillaume is a medical device consultant and expert. So he's an expert in quality and regulatory affair for medtech. And he helps companies on daily basis. He helps companies to build their QMS and to prepare their technical files. So of course he will be able to introduce himself a bit later on, probably in a better way, but that's at higher level. That's what it is. At TraceX, we work with Guillaume and CSDmed for several companies now. So if you want to understand the collaboration, is that in short, we provide basically the software to simplify the work, to simplify the collaboration between us and the users and the medtech companies. And Guillaume and CSDmed, they provide all the expertise to create quality management system or anything to be able to put the medical device on a market. So we are happy today to have him and to present the webinar. So it's going to be with no surprise. So to launch how to launch a medical device and how to comply the first steps to comply to ISO 13485 QMS. So I will leave the floor to him, but just as Amandine did brilliantly, if you guys want to ask a question, you just press the button. I think she's on this. Yeah, maybe you can join her. No problem. You can press the button, ask a question, and then we will be able to hear you. Because at the moment, if you don't press this ask a question button, we cannot hear you. That's option one. The option two, if you just want to write the question to us and we can read it, it's no problem at all. So you can use the note. Oh, actually, there is one. Hello, everyone. Thank you. And hi, Fabrice. And so you can write actually in this in the chat, and I will look into it and ask the question to Guillaume as we go. So yeah, let's go, and I leave the floor to you, Guillaume.
Thank you. Hello, everyone, and thank you for being here today to talk about a topic that might sound tedious, but it's absolutely strategic. Quality management system. So we'll see later in the presentation. It's a requirement from MDR. So you need to have a QMS when you want to develop and manufacture a medical device. So here, more specifically, we'll see how to build a digital QMS with TraceX without turning your daily operation into an administrative L. And believe me, I think we are most French here. We know what administrative L means in French. In France, I think we created that, in fact. So in a way, your QMS is a bridge. So that's a picture. And it connects your team members, the documents, the procedures, etc. So all the moving parts that keep you compliant and efficient, right? And what happens when the bridge doesn't connect properly? So let's see, you get that. If you just get a pile of templates you gather from the web, you copy paste SOPs, or you have no clear ownership, each piece may look fine on its own, but in reality, there's no continuity, there's no connection, and sooner or later, you'll fall right through the gap. So just like the picture. So today, we'll look at why implementing a QMS early, even if you have a small team, even if it's a startup, and why doing that is a smart move. We'll cover what to do, what to avoid, which method to follow to build it, and how using TraceX can improve the creation process. Well, first, I'll introduce myself briefly. Charles already for few things. So I'm a medtech consultant, specialized in quality, regulatory, and R&D. I work daily with startups, SMEs that want to go fast and do it right and stay compliant with ISO 13485, MDR, or FDA. I'm certified Lead Auditor, ICA for AFNOR, for ISO 13485. I'm expert at BPI in France for medical devices. And my role today is not to sell you a tool because TraceX is free, so I have nothing to sell. It is to show you how to use it wisely, okay? So why starting with an eQMS early? People often say, okay, let's build a device, we'll take care of the QMS later, or I'm the master of Excel, we can do a QMS with Excel. That's true. We can do anything with Excel. I personally love Excel. The problem is Excel is not user-friendly for a QMS. And if you want your QMS later is often too late. People will get bad habits. Document will be upside down. You may even forget some crucial activities. So I believe, for example, on a picture, people that designed the swing, they did not have a QMS, right? QMS is a requirement from MDR. So let me read you Article 10.9. It says, manufacturers of devices other than investigational devices, it's always difficult, shall establish, document, implement, maintain, keep up to date, and continually improve a quality management system that shall ensure compliance with this regulation in the most effective manner and in a manner that is proportionate to the risk class and the type of device. So this is very important. There are lots of information in this section of Article 10.9. So a good QMS, it's not a regulatory burden. It's really a powerful management tool. And if you do it properly, it will help you save time, obviously money, and help your customers to build trust with you and reduce the risk, etc., etc. So what you need absolutely to avoid, I've heard that so many times, grabbing someone else QMS. Okay, I have a friend, he already built this company. He told me I can get everything, the Word, the Excel file, etc. Okay, very good. Or there are lots of templates everywhere in the web. I can get everything here and here and here and patch all together. If you remember Frankenstein, it's not very sexy. So if you do so, it won't fit your context, your risk, your company cultures. And during the audit, we will see it from the beginning. So I love this image because for me, it really highlights this kind of thing. So I believe the guy who designed the stairs here didn't have a QMS neither. So this staircase is in an airport. And initially, people were bumping their head when walking under the stairs. So they added the bars on the floor to redirect the flow. But people started tripping over the bars. So now they added a cone and warning tape. So this is what happens when you take fix like that and you fix the symptoms and not the cause, and then you get something like a bad QMS, a succession of inefficient patches added under pressure without a real coherence. So now let's see how to avoid that kind of situation when building your eQMS from scratch. This is a method I use with my clients. 5 clear steps adaptable to your maturity level. The goal, remember, is to avoid overkill while covering the fundamentals, okay? So step 0, sharpen the axe. You will see in the next slide. Step 1, it's your architecture of documents. Step 2 is your core processes. Step 3, don't forget the risk. And step 4, you'll cycle back to ISO 13485 and MDR to check your compliance. So step 0, Sharpen VX. For those who work with me, you will always hear me quote Lincoln. Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree. I'll spend the first 4 sharpening VX, meaning preparation is key. So before you dive into your SOPs, your TraceX configuration, take a step back, okay? Who approves what? What's the workflow? How decisions are taken or tracked? What is the full life cycle of your medical device, etc., etc. So write down all this information. A good QMS starts with a clear vision and not just throwing documents like that. Step 1, you structure your document architecture. Now that you know who does what, when, etc., you can go to your values and define your company policy. It will be recorded in your quality manual on the top of the pyramid. And then you go down in a granularity with your processes, your procedures, work instruction if needed, and then the templates. Remember, when you build your QMS, you don't need 40 SOPs on day 1. Just go to the essential, a simple policy, few key procedures, well-designed templates. And TraceX lets you organize everything by category, owner, status, etc. So I just give you an example of what we did for a client. So we have the quality manual and folders with your procedure, your processes, procedures, instruction, and templates. Within the processes in French, sorry, I mix French and English, processes. You have the identity of your processes and the risk analysis related to your processes. So that's not everything, but you see the first. And same for the procedure. They are described here. You click, you have all the information within the procedure, and they are named against the chapter of ISO 13485. Okay. So step 2 is master your processes and your procedures. Processes, they're not here to impress auditors, okay? They should be usable by the team and at least a process pilot. They are measurable and provable, grounded in a real-world operation. You may have KPIs around your processes. They allow you to manage a company through the KPIs follow-up, and they allow us also to inflect the company's strategy through the risk monitoring. So it's key for the company. Often when I audit a company, I start with the processes. So I go into the description and then into the SWOT. Most of the time you have a SWOT around that. And I follow the KPIs to see if they are relevant, if they are well followed, and if action are taken against that. So processes, then you go to the procedures. They need to be clear, efficient. You avoid blah, blah. You're not here to write a book, okay? It's something very efficient. And then the template to support the procedure. So key takeaway, make it simple. Don't hurt yourself. Step 3, risk. So here, I often see a misunderstanding when we say risk. Risk management is not a magic word. You have to be careful. You have the product risk. It's about patient safety, performance, and they are in your technical file. And you have the process risk, which are about your teamwork day to day, and they are in the QMS. Okay. So product risk, you follow ISO 14971. You identify the hazardous situation, probability, severity, and most of the time we use FMEA. So FMEA is not all the risk. You have the risk management plan, usually the activities around risk like FMEA, fault tree analysis, etc., and then a risk management report and all the post-market surveillance, etc., activities that link back to risks. Okay, so all that is part of your design and development file, your DHF, and they nourish technical documentation. Okay. For processes and system risk, so it's within your QMS. You have the SWOT linked to the processes, and you have also all the information you gathered regarding non-conformities, CAPAs, material vigilance, etc. So all that will nourish and circle back into your QMS to improve it or correct when things are going wrong. So, and remember, in ISO 13485, it's section 8.2.5 and 8.5 that are around all these topics. So that's a good introduction about continuous improvement. Remember, we talked about that when we quoted Article 10.9. So when you build your QMS, it's just not throwing SOPs and then it's okay, the job is done. If you don't maintain, review them, you're dead. So PDCA, the Deming wheel, is a classical regarding QMS. So plan, you define your processes, the responsibilities, etc. Do you apply them? You train people, they use it daily, so you get feedback. Tech, you monitor KPIs, you perform internal audits, etc., etc., and then act if needed from the KPIs, the internal audits, etc. You improve, you correct, you update, and then it goes again. Okay. So that's what we look during audit. So or when you have an investor that perform a due diligence, they are checking if you can prove you know what's happening inside your company through the QMS. And when something goes wrong, that you know what you can do to improve that. So that's the goal of that, okay? So why TraceX? I'm often asked why TraceX. I could answer because we love Charles. That's true, but that's not enough. I would say a tool is very intuitive. It's very, very easy to use. It's totally free. I mean, there's no asterisk behind, you know, with saying, okay, 1 month free and then your charge. It's free, really free, no hidden cost. It's aligned with ISO 13485 and MDR requirements, signature control, traceability of versions of the document, etc., etc. So it's all compliant from this point of view. It's definitely avoid Excel, Word, Google Drive, or whatsoever drive chaos. And sorry for the Excel wizard. I love Excel also, but yeah, it's definitely better like that. And as a takeaway, remember, it's not the tool that counts. I mean, TraceX is a tool, and what counts is the setup you will do, the way you will set it up to tailor fit your needs. Okay. So now you have the map, you know what you need, and without a clear GPS, you may end up like this playground slide. It's very fun, but not very effective. Imagine a kid going in between the two. So now, if you need to implement your QMS, feel free. You can call us at CSDmed. We can perform a flash audit to see where you are, where you want to go, if you're in a good pathway, or you can book a 30-minute call to clarify your needs, etc. So I'll show you, I think, the slide after. I put here, there's a QR code here, so you can book a meeting here if you need. And that's all. Thank you for your time. If you have questions, I will be happy to answer them.
So thank you very much, Guillaume. Yeah, so the way you can ask questions, if you have any, don't hesitate. You can use this ask a question button, and then we'll be able to hear. That's option 1, or option 2, you just write anything on the meeting chat, and we can read them for you. So it's one way or another, up to you. So while actually I do have some that's people while you guys are writing. Oh, sorry, someone is joining. Yeah, please.
Ooh. Okay. So, okay. So I will give you, let's do it the old way. This is a link. Thank you, Fabrice. Yeah, demo effect.
I guess, Will, you press the ask a question button, but we cannot hear anything.
There you go. It said I was forced muted and it wouldn't let me unmute myself. So you had to let me talk. I was just working on typing it in. Thank you for the presentation. That was wonderful. I am, like the meeting says, setting up my first QMS. I've been in medical devices for about 10 years now. Just a quick question on, so when you say KPIs, to me that means key performance indicators. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. What are some examples? I'm used to key performance indicators in processes and in in product. What are some examples of key performance indicators on the QMS side?
Well, it's always related to what you're doing within your QMS. So, for example, if you take production, you could count the non-conformities and say, okay, within the production, we allow, it depends on the size of the company, on the number of products and the size of the productions. But you could say, for example, we allow some AQL, assurance quality level numbers, and so you follow that and you see, are we compliant? For example, each month, at the end of the month, you set a meeting with the stakeholders, and you check your KPIs on that, and you see also if there is a tendency. For example, it's still okay, but it's growing every month, and maybe we need to act before we go outside of the range. So this is an easy one, for example.
Gotcha. Thank you. What about one? I mean, if no one else has questions, I'll keep going.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So what would be an example of one? So I'm in the early stages. I'm just in the process of setting it up, and I'm going to focus on the R&D side more. But I know that having a QMS is an important part of R&D as well, just so that you're set up for the future.
Yeah.
What would be an example of an early KPI for the initial setup and maybe first 6 months of running a QMS?
For R&D, for example, you could say the respect of the planning. It's a way to show if either you plan things properly, because if it's out of range, either you're not good at planning and you challenge you too much, or the team is not efficient enough. And the good thing is in a KPI, when it's well done, it allows you to think about the problem. And if the team is not efficient enough, okay, we need to go to the training. Maybe they need to be trained. If we challenge too much, maybe it's a problem of management. So in any case, a KPI helps you to improve.
Understood. Thank you.
Thank you, Will.
Thank you.
Any other question? All right. So while I have couples, so I can probably use a bit of that time. So
You're allowed. You're allowed to ask question.
May I?
Go on.
So basically, the way I said at the beginning of the call, but the way we work is usually so people can come to me and they are interested about the tool, and then they ask for expertise consultancy, which we don't deliver, like in the name of TraceX, but we direct to our partners, and CSDmed is like a good partner that we direct people to. So I will mention a couple of questions I'm being asked when people come to me, and when I say, "Oh, this is about expertise consultancy," and they ask a couple of questions. So, for example, one is like about pricing the cost. Would you be able to the question I have regularly is like how much it costs to set up like a QMS, the first QMS for medical
Well,
device?
usually we start with, as I said, I'm expert at BPI France for medical devices. So that means that when we work together, you can have some money given by BPI. To be exact, you pay a part of the QMS, and BPI, when you stay to BPI, it's okay, CSDmed has done the work, BPI will pay CSDmed back. So you cut the invoice in two. So I begin usually with the price of BPI. So they have range from class 2A, 2B, and class 3. It depends on the classification of the device. Sometimes for startups, cost is difficult, and depending on the situation, we can find solution also to ease that. So it's always a discussion, but we start from the price of BPI, so we can find on the net.
Okay, and that's very clear. And in terms of timing, so to set up like a QMS, so how long would it take in average?
It depends. I mean, the variation comes from the complexity of the company, of the organization, of the device. If you are just a EU representative, for example, you need a QMS, but it's very easy. You just have to review the technical file from the manufacturer who are out of Europe. So it's much more easier, and you can go faster. Let's say for a classical startup that starts from scratch with manufacturing, with R&D, so 7.3 for R&D, 7.5 for manufacturing, 7.4 for supply. So big chapters. Let's say we can draft something after 3 months. And then usually we advise 3 more months to begin using, to criticize. It's never perfect. And from what you think to what you design and what you use on the field, you have very interesting feedback. And so you improve like that. So I would say 6 months is quite a good, it seems long, but you start using it. It's not after 6 months, you log in, everything is done, you start using it, and after 6 months, you have something that can run a little bit, that's interesting. You can see people saying, oh yeah, that's nice. I know where things are sorted or recorded. It's very easy. You can sign, etc. You can comment. So you get positive feedback quite quickly. And then there's all the process to go to certification.
So actually, so that means that you don't do that in standalone way. So you need, so what's the involvement of the team, like the medtech? Is it like huge? What, you know?
So that's also when we said there are many variables that can inflect, the time you spend on building the QMS. The involvement of the people is also key. So people in a company, you need the top management. 5.1 of ISO 13485, it's management involvement. It's a chapter, so you can't avoid that. Then obviously you need the quality manager, and it's easier when we have at CSDmed. It's easier when we have, for example, the quality manager, the top management, and then the quality manager linked and liaise with people in the company. So it avoids too much noise. And the quality manager will go to the manager of the departments, and the manager of the departments may also link to his guy because they are operational, so they know the daily work, and the goal is to keep as close as what they are used to do, but compliant with ISO 13485.
Okay, and that leads to another one where I get quite often, but I sort of never respond because this isn't my job, which is like, okay, so we mentioned like to set up like an ISO 13485 QMS, but is it mandatory like to get C mark or to get the FDA approval? So what's the relationship between these three?
So, as I said during the presentation, Article 10.9 says you need a QMS. It's mandatory. Okay. You don't need to be certified. Certification is a plus, but you could say, okay, we have a QMS. It's not mandatory to be ISO 13485. You can have your own QMS if you're creative. Go for it. But you may find some problems. Why do people go to ISO 13485 and why do they go to certification? First, ISO 13485 is really interlinked with MDR. So when you are compliant with ISO 13485, you avoid a lot of problems from MDR. And when a notified body comes and to inspect your technical file, they have to inspect also your QMS. But if your QMS is certified by a conformity assessment body, AFNOR or anyone else, they will say, okay, this job has been done by a colleague. Let's focus on the technical file. So it's much more easier if you are ISO 13485 and if you are certified.
It's like a security, right? You
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. Cool. Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We have another one from Will. Have you gone through any FDA audits without the QMS certified?
Never without the QMS certified. I've never seen that. And I wouldn't want to leave that. I mean, it's not impossible. If the work is done properly, but it's so much easier when you're certified. So much. So I never leave that. So I can't give you examples around that. Sorry.
Awesome. Then if there is no more question, but then, oh, actually we do. Could I ask what is the general impression?
What is the general impression of notified body regarding the use of electronic quality management system? Are they currently expecting validation of such system in accordance with specific standard, or the approach still more dependent on the manufacturer's internal procedure and risk-based justification? So yeah, as soon as you have any software in your QMS and the software has an impact on patient safety, on performance of the device, etc., you need to validate the software. So usually you have a procedure within your QMS that define how to validate your QMS. The TraceX needs to be validated. I mean, in itself, it's okay for traceability, for signature, etc. But the way you will set it up for your need has to be validated. So when I build a QMS for my clients, I also validate it. So it's a classical method, IQ, OQ, PQ, and that's kind of a standard. Obviously, you can build something else. I've done that in a okay, bye-bye. Thank you. I've done that in the past. It was years ago, and I did it on the risk-based approach. So it was not a IQ, OQ, PQ, and it was not an eQMS. It was a vault to store the CAD file, so SolidWorks file. So it was a vault that could store the version of the design, which design are validated or not, etc. Who has right to see the files, depending on the status, etc. So quite the same. It was a risk-based approach, a very, very, very long work, and it was okay for the auditor. So there's not one path to go to the solution. There are many paths, but some are easier and some are maybe more accepted or more robust. But in any case, what you do, if it's justified on a risk-based approach, it could be okay. Let me know, Fabio, if the answer is fine for you or if you need more details. Okay, thank you.
All right, but thank you. Well, actually, I had a last one, but I think you sort of, I sort of already know the answer, but I will ask it anyway because I always got it. When should we start to set up implementing a QMS? Like, when can we work in a messy way, and when do we need to start to work properly? So what's
usually, if you call me, you should have started yesterday. Well, the sooner the better. The sooner the better, because I mean, as I said, you don't need to go for 40 SOPs from the beginning. You may start, with drafting the general idea of what you want to do, and you start with something. And when you first design your new medical device, you kind of perform proof of concept and stuff like that. If you have already an organization following 7.3, the design, so plan, input, output, very valid transfer, you can kind of put your bricks inside that. If you design properly your protocols and your report, you can have something robust that will nourish your DHF. So the sooner you do it, the better. At the beginning, I would focus, on the 7.3, the R&D, because usually we all begin with that. It's my past, and I love R&D. And so maybe let's start with cleaning all this topic, because you will generate lots of data on that, risk management activities also, etc. So strengthen all that, and then you can add, the management, KPIs, and all stuff going after.
Okay. But thank you. That's it on my end in terms of questions. So if we don't have any, well, thank you very much, Guillaume, for this presentation, and thanks, guys, for joining it as well. And yeah, let's see if we can work and prepare some other topic in the coming months or so. So, well, thank you very much for the time. Thank you.
Thank you for organizing that, and thank you for people who came and the questions.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.